Despite good intentions and some progress made toward promoting diversity and inclusion within state bar leadership, more needed to be done to address broader issues within the profession and the justice system. That's a sentence from a report by a racial justice task force convened by the State Bar of Wisconsin in 2020. I'm Jeff M. Brown, the legal writer with the State Bar of Wisconsin. I'm here today with State Bar President Cheryl Daniels, who was a member of the task force, to discuss the recommendations made in the task force's report, recommendations that were approved by the State Bar Board of Governors at its meeting on February 25th. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hello. I'm glad to be joining you on this very important issue.
Great. The task force made 31 recommendations, 12 of which were already implemented at the time a draft of the task force's report was released in September of last year. Can you talk about several of the recommendations that you think are particularly important, given where the State Bar is and where our country is nearly 2 years after the murder of George Floyd?
I think there are a group that we are working on that are going to be probably the most difficult to kind of wrap our arms around as we move forward. Think about what do we do as a profession to make things as inclusive and as understanding as possible, because we not only is it for ourselves, but also because we are representing a more diverse clientele as we move forward in this country. And so having the approval of to have CLE credit for diversity, equity, inclusion, and access as part of the fabric of what we learn as lawyers, so that we are better able to have diverse workforces within our organizations and better able to represent our diverse clientele, is going to be very important to be able to go forward and petition the Supreme Court to make it available. Then from there, we're going to jump off and look at, and we have already started that by what I've done by appointing a task force to look at whether these credits need to be mandatory, because we need to, as always, think about this as part of what we do as lawyers. So that's going to be a very, very important part of the issue. I think the other ones is that we always have to strengthen our collaborations with the law schools, particularly our in-state law schools, to make sure that we're getting in through the pipeline young people who will not only be trained as lawyers who are diverse people, but then become lawyers within the state. And that's going to be a huge issue going forward, because we need to have more diversity within our profession within the state. And the State Bar can only do so much. So we need to work with so many other groups to do that.
Thank you. What does it mean for the State Bar Board of Governors to have approved the recommendations?
I think it's the State Bar unanimously approved the report, and that's because the Board of Governors, as leaders, are within their different districts and within their different groups. They're the leaders that are seeing what we need to do, and to have done it unanimously is to say, we know that diversity, equity, inclusion, and access within our profession and with doing it will mean that we will be a more relevant, if you will, organization, as well as a more relevant profession, which we need to be as we go forward. It's just something that we need to be, that's just a part of what we need to do. And that we need to always think about the things that we unconsciously do as groups to try, that we divide people, and we need to not divide, but to bring people together, both within our profession and within the people that we are going to be serving, the public, the judiciary, the legal system as a whole, and our clients.
Great, thank you. How important will the implementation of the recommendations be to the State Bar in terms of fulfilling its mission?
Oh, if you have a report and all it does is gather dust on the shelf, what does that do? I mean, it does nothing. That's why it's been so important first to get the approval, for example, the approval of the CLE petition to go forward, then to put the mandatory CLE task force together. And thirdly, what I promised to the Board of Governors was that as we look at the recommendations from the oversight committee looking at how do we move our diversity and inclusion action plan forward. What I want to do is have a group that takes both that, what we're going to do for the update of that plan, and this report, put them together as to, and make the action plan, if you will, a living document moving forward. And then also say, what are the priorities for the next 2 years? But then also, how do we look at priorities moving forward so that it never becomes stale and that we never forget that this is all a part of what we must do to make our profession continue to be relevant in this century.
Great. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thanks for talking with me today and sharing your thoughts on the Racial Justice Task Force recommendations.
Thank you. And I want to say that if there are is there anybody who's watching this and would like to be a part of what we're doing moving forward, please let me know. You can always contact me. My contacts are on the on the State Bar website, and please let me know if you want to be involved, because we want to have as many attorneys involved as we can to get all of our, again, diverse opinions together so that we can do the best job going forward. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks again, Cheryl. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Take care.